Hi, this is Vanessa with Designs by Vanessa. I'm super excited to be making this video for Darn Good Yarn. Today we are going to be arm knitting. So the materials that you'll need are 3 hanks of their recycled silk chiffon ribbon, and this is in watercolors, and then all you need are a pair of scissors. So you're going to be using your arms as your knitting tool. We're going to be working with 2 strands. These are approximately 1/4 to 1/2 inch wide, so they are quite thin, and they're category 5 bulky weight. But as you can see, your arms are it's a really big gauge, so we want to double up. So we'll work with 2 strands, and each hank is approximately 40 yards, 100 grams, and we're going to be using 3 or less. Okay, so grab your materials and let's get started. So what I'm going to do is take off my rings and my watch because I don't want it to snag on anything. So we're going to start with the long tail cast on, and the long tail cast on method means you need a long tail to start with, and to determine the length of ribbon you need, I would recommend holding the tip and then just pulling it all the way up to your shoulders. Okay, so this is 3 arms length for me, and you want to start with a slip knot. So to start a slip knot, so this strand here is going to be from my yarn, okay, and then the strand down here will be my tail end. So this would be your working yarn, this is your tail end. So holding your tail end with your hand, you want to wrap the ribbon around, overlapping this strand here, and then so this creates a loop, and then you want to just bring it back up through the loop. Okay, tighten it slightly, and then you want to take your right hand and insert it into the loop and tighten it at the bottom. Okay, so if you pull on the working yarn that's coming out of your ball, it'll tighten it for you. Okay, so now we're going to cast on. And so to cast on, you want to place your finger and your thumb together like this. Okay, and you're going to place it in between the 2 strands, and then grab the tail with your 2 or 3 fingers, whatever is comfortable. Okay, and then you want to swing your finger and thumb back. It's sort of like a slingshot. Okay, to start casting on, you're going to go underneath this strand here, and that's the strand on your thumb, the closest strand to you. You want to take your finger and then insert your whole hand in there, and then this strand here, the strand closest to you from your other finger, you want to go from the top this time down. Okay, and then you want to pull it back through that loop that you just went through on your thumb and let go. Okay, again, you want to tighten it, so just pull on the strands. Okay, now you have 2 stitches. Okay, remember the 2 strands count as 1 stitch. so you've cast on 2 stitches and you want to repeat that step again. Okay, again, underneath this strand here on your thumb, insert your hand, and then on this strand here you want to go from the top down and then pull this through that loop and tighten. Okay, so that's 4. Oh, excuse me, that's 3. And so you want to repeat that for a total of 19 stitches. Okay, so again, under the first strand here, and then over and down on this strand here, and pull it through the loop. Okay. So if you need to slow the video down or watch it again, go ahead and do that. I'm going to continue casting on the remaining stitches. So you want a total of 19. Okay, so I've casted on 19 stitches, and this is the tail end. I'm just going to leave that, and this is your working yarn. Okay, so now you want to knit these stitches, and they're going to transfer from this arm to this arm. Okay, and I'll demonstrate how to do that. So this is your working yarn again. You want to grab your working yarn, okay, like this. Okay, and then grab your first stitch, which are the 2 strands, and just pass it over your hand. So slip it off of your hand and let go, and then you're going to turn this so that the working yarn is closest to you, and you want to insert your left hand in there. And you want to tighten this on this side, okay? So again, grab the yarn with your hand, and you always want to hold, if you get confused on which side you're working on, the side that you're transferring from is the hand that will be holding the working yarn. Okay, so now I want to grab the next stitch and slide it off. Okay, and transfer it to my left arm. Okay, again, so when you're, here's a tip, when you're tightening this strand here, you'll be holding the working yarn already, so you want to just keep that position and grab your next stitch and pull it over, and then insert your left hand into the loop and tighten it. So you're basically set up for the next step already. Okay, so you're holding the yarn, grab the next stitch, pass it over, and drop it, insert your left hand into the loop, and tighten it. Okay, repeat that again. Remember, you want to hold on to the working yarn, insert your hand, and then tighten it. So now you're set up for the next stitch. Okay, insert your hand into this loop and tighten. So repeat that until you've transferred all of these stitches over to this side. Okay, so we're done with row 1. Now we want to start row 2. And basically it's the same thing. You're wanting to transfer the stitches from your left arm to your right arm, and the process is pretty much the same in reverse. So the first thing you want to do again is hold on to your working yarn, and then you want to slide the first stitch over. Okay, and again you want to make sure the working yarn is closest to you, so turn it, insert your right hand, then you want to tighten this. Okay, so now holding on to the working yarn again, you want to grab the next stitch, slide it over, and insert your right hand in. Okay. Hold on to the working yarn, slide the next stitch over, and insert your right hand in. Okay. Tighten that up. Okay, next stitch, slide it over, and insert your right hand in. Okay, tighten it up. So just repeat this until you have transferred all of the stitches over to your right arm this time. Okay, so I have one stitch left. Holding on to the working yarn, I'm going to slip that last stitch off, insert my right hand through that loop, and tighten the bottom. So that is your row 2. Okay, so that is the repeat. You want to repeat rows 1 and 2. Okay, so I'll do another row. I'll work another row. So holding on to the working yarn, okay, you want to slide the first stitch off, and now that you have this loop, you want to insert your left hand, and you want to tug on the working yarn so that you tighten it. Okay. Again, since you're already tugging on this, you're set up to work your next stitch. Slide it off, insert your hand through that loop. Okay, grab this, tug. Okay, now you're set up for the next stitch. So this is just a way to go faster if you're really comfortable with it, and it's just how I like to do it. Okay, so tighten it, next stitch, pull it over, insert your left hand through the loop, tighten this up, grab your next stitch, insert your hand through, and tighten it up. Okay, so go ahead and work all of the stitches, moving all of the stitches from your right arm to your left arm. Alright, so there's your third row. So you want to continue repeating row 1 and 2, rows 1 and 2. So you can see, because they're so large, each row, if you ever get lost, you can count them. So this is the cast on row right here. Okay, so you start here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, and then 15 on my arm here. Let's work 16 rows. Okay, so hold your yarn, slide the stitch off, flip it so that the working yarn is closest to you, slip your hand in, tighten this. Okay. Okay, so you want to repeat that all the way across, and then I will show you how to bind off or cast off. It's the same thing. Okay, so I have my last stitch. Alright, so now I'm ready to cast off or bind off. So you want to knit as you've been doing, transferring only 2 stitches over from your right arm to your left arm. Okay, so there's the first one. And the second one. Okay, now that you have 2 stitches, and you'll always just want 2 stitches on your left arm, you're going to grab the first one and slide it off over that last one you just stitched, you just moved over. Okay, and you don't want to work this too tight. Okay, so now grab this working yarn again, and move the next stitch over just like before, and then grab always the one on the left, so farthest away from your hand. You'll slip that one over. Okay, and then work the next stitch from your right arm. Again, the stitch farthest away from your hand, slide it over and drop it. Okay, work the next stitch from your right arm, slide it onto your left arm. Okay, and grab this stitch here and slide it off. Okay, hold on to your working yarn, work your next stitch, place it on your left arm, grab this stitch here and slide it off. Okay, so we'll continue casting off, binding off, until we have just 1 stitch left on our left arm. Okay, Okay, so I have one stitch left. I'm going to move that to my left arm, and then I'm going to slide this one over. So now you have one stitch on here, and then measure double the length. So okay, so double the length, and then that's where you want to cut your yarn. Okay, so now you want to run it through the remaining stitch that was on your left arm, so we can tighten it. Okay, secure it. Okay, like so. Okay. So this is the right side of your work. You can see the knit stitches. This is the wrong side. So you want to keep the right side on top, and then you want to bring the edges together. Okay. And then you want to match stitch each stitch from the edge. Okay, so this is this would be the first stitch from the cast on edge, and then this is the first stitch here from the bind off edge. Okay, so this is the tail that we cut, and you can pull it through by strand, and I'll show you what I mean. So you can insert it in the other corner and pull it through like this. Okay, or you could be lazy. I like to waddle it up like this and then find my next stitch. Okay, hold it together and just shove it in there. Okay, and here's my next stitch, and this one. It's a little hard to see because this because of this fiber. If you're working with different type of yarn, it's a little bit easier. But you just want to make sure that you sew it the edges evenly. Okay, so when you get close to the end, make sure so I've got, make sure that it lines up basically. So I've got this end, I've got this end, and then I'm just going to take my waddled up and then just put it through, because the stitches are very loose and you can see it very well. Okay, so this is my tail end from the cast on, and I'm on my last stitch, so I'm going to weave it through this end and then weave it through the last stitch on this end. Okay, and what I'm going to do is tie these two together. Just to secure it. Okay, now you want to weave in your ends. So you're just going to run the ribbon through the stitches, and this is the wrong side, so this is the inside of your cowl. So I'm just going to run the stitches through, just weave it in. And I actually like to tie another knot. Yes, I love knots. So I'm going to just grab one strand, pull it through, and then tie this together. Okay. Just so I know that it's not going to fall apart. Cut that. Do the same thing for the other one. I'm just going to cut it so it's a little bit more manageable. So I'm just going to weave this one through as well. Just through. And you don't have to weave it too much. Okay, so now I'm going to take one strand and just wrap it around one of these stitches. And then I'm going to tie a couple of knots. All right, so this seems really long, but because it's arm knitted and it's it has a really good drape, so you want to flip it over. Okay, so it seems like a really long piece for a cowl. However, if you just open, it's like a long tube. Okay, so if you open it up, it's not really too thick. Okay, so this is how you would wear it around your neck. Okay, isn't that beautiful? All right, thank you so much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this video.